DVDs. And Precinct 4 got a donation. You want to talk about that there?
Yes, Foundation Energy, Troy Botts Jr. Donated a 110 barrel water trailer. It was just real nice. All I need to do, he just asked I reimburse him. They had to put tires on it, and I'm gonna reimburse him for the tires.
That's right.
It was a big, huge savings to the county.
Absolutely. 2011 water trailer value of $18,000.
Make a motion to accept the donations to county entities as presented.
So, all in favor?
It's up now.
Okay, thank you. I must have missed something when I was doing that. All right, public forum to discuss removing County Road 2215 from the county road map. And we'll start that at 10:09. Can we do both of them at the same time? Public forum to discuss adding County Road 2137 to the county road map. We'll go ahead and do both. And let's start, as I said, 10:09. Any discussion on this from the public?
It goes between 2192 and 2202. It's just west of Max Strong's house. It's like 200 yards long. And been used in years.
Excuse me. Can y'all speak up? They can't hear me.
Okay.
And then 2137 was one that got left off when we did the maps. Half of it's on there and half of it's not. I want to put the other half back on there.
This is the first half or the second half?
Second half.
And there's correction here.
So that ends, so that's 184.
Okay, any further discussion on these two county roads? Okay. You know what I forgot to put on there?
What?
Adding or changing. So we'll come back at the next meeting. We've had the public hearing and we will correct that. We'll remove, or we'll put the vote to remove and vote to add. I apologize for that. I just missed it.
That's why I did this long.
Let's go ahead and have Suzanne talk to us today about the Lions Club's July 4th events. And then
As most of you may not know, my name is Suzanne Barrow and I'm treasurer of the Snyder Lions Club. Thank you for allowing me to come and voice what I need to voice. I just wanted to speak about the July 4th Carnival. As you may have heard, the Pride of Texas Carnival will not be coming this year, so we will not be having a carnival at all. Max von Roeder was instrumental in doing this, and I can't remember, I didn't find a date as to when it started, but it was a long time ago. He was instrumental in getting this carnival for the 4th and to give the Lions Club a generous donation from their profits. This kind of breaks my heart that this history is thrown away. It's pretty sad. I'm here to ask the court and Lions Club if we can come to an agreement on carnival business. I know there's been a lot said and a lot not said, and so when we finally do find a carnival that will start coming back, we appreciate it. If we can get together and just come to agreement on things with the Parks Department and the carnival. I'm not here to put the blame on y'all. I believe we, the Lions Club, and I'm pointing at myself, we could have worked harder and I could have done a contract and had it signed before they come back this year. And I didn't do it. I did word of mouth with Doug and Christopher. Doug is the dad and Christopher is the son, and he has taken over the carnival. But the original thing with Max von Roeder was with the dad, Doug. And so Doug said that he would come as long as he could help the Lions Club, but then since his son's taken over, things have changed, and I understand that. So it's not everybody, it's not just y'all, it's us too, not just the Parks Department. Let me see. So just so you know, the Lions Club pays the electricity for the whole carnival. And if we could just get an electric pole set up for the electricity for their trailers, we can pay that electricity too. But as soon as the carnival's over and we get an invoice from the Parks Department, we pay for all of the electricity. So that comes out of our profit, which is okay, it's to help them. And last year, y'all decided that we needed to put up $5,000 for the carnival to come and to cover damages if they made any. They've done damage in the park for the last few years, and there were situations for that. But anyway, so we paid the $5,000, and in your packet, there's a receipt in there where showing that we paid and also showing that we that what we got back out of the $5,000. And I was privileged to go to the after celebration meeting, and we talked about the $5,000 kind of being a steep price, and so we kind of talked about maybe that price could be lowered, because, we may not have $5,000 in the Lions Club budget. So anyway, and I realized there was damage for the past few years, and I've asked many times for an invoice of the cost of damage. And when I got the check from the county to come back, I didn't get an invoice with it telling me step by step what the damages were, what it cost, anything. So we were just, we were doing all this just to work with y'all, but we kind of need an invoice for our records too. So if we can get that, that would be great. I also realized that people tend to look down on carnival people, but they have a job too. I mean, I can't see us going in and setting up a carnival all night long and running it for several days in the heat. And so we, as Snyder people, need to treat them a little better. And I know, I've heard all the stories, and I know that in the after celebration meeting last year, one guy from the Parks Department said, and I quote, "You shouldn't be friends with them. We don't like carnival people. They're no good." And I said, they are good. I'm sorry, they're people. They have a job. At least they're working, and making money and not on welfare. So I just wanted everybody to know that. Anyway, and in there, Christopher he sent me a message of things that went on, and so it's in your packet, the text message in your packet. The first page is the contract that ran out last year, so everybody could see what the contract said. And so the Lions Club, we always receive 15% of what the carnival's gross earnings were, and last year it was $11,158. And that report is in the from the Pride of Texas. It's in there, the sponsored report. So therefore, we budgeted money all this year. I mean, we budget every year counting on this big amount to go out to the community. And without this, we're gonna have to cut our budget tremendously. And not to mention all the revenues that the city of Snyder and the vendors in the park are going to lose. People come and bring their kids, they leave their kids at the carnival and they go to the park and buy and I'm afraid all of us are going to lose big time on this year. So hopefully we can find a carnival. I'm going to talk to Doug and Christopher and see if they're ever going to come back. If not, we will be on the hunt for a new carnival and see what we can get done, but we will start it. I'm going to Guatemala July 5 to 11, so as soon as I get back, I will start calling. We will find a carnival for next year, so we won't have this problem. Let's see, the last page of your packet has all the donations that we give out to the different committees, different fundraisers, different everything. That's what goes out to the public. That's what we call our public money. We have membership money and then we have public money. And so all of those things are going to have to be cut drastically, which is sad because a lot of them depend on what we give them too. So anyway, it's just a no-win all the way around. And this fundraiser saved us from having to do many fundraisers during the year. Constantly, I hate selling tickets and stuff for things, but Jonathan loves it, so I let him do it. But and I hate for people to think, okay, here comes a Lions Club member, they're gonna try to sell me something. So this was a good fundraiser for us to just have the money that we could share with the community. And we don't keep any of it, we share it. Usually by the time July 1st comes, we're pretty much out of money in that account because we've given it all out for the year. So it's not like we hoard it and carry it over every year. And also we rent the porta potties for everybody, and at the carnival, we rent those, we pay for them to be cleaned out every day. That's a big chunk, but we want the community to have that, and if it were me, I would wanna have someplace to go. So with all that being said, I ask of you if we can work on this matter in the future, if we can work on getting them electricity and bathrooms not be told that they're out of order, so when they really weren't, but anyway, and that's hearsay, because I didn't hear that part, but that's what Doug told me. And so anyway, I'm just here to plead the case because Lions Club does a lot for this community and gives a lot of money out. And if we don't have this, then everything's tight, and we've got to have money to help all these people. And Lions Club, our slogan is "We serve." And we're gonna have a hard time serving people if we can't come together with this carnival and work out everything and work out electricity and everything for the carnival people. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Can we address it?
Yes.
So when we did that last year, it was not the intention to run them off.
Okay,
It was to protect our assets
sure.
and to protect the public as well. Because the year before, they had torn into the box
I
and
knew that. Mhm.
they did the same thing again this
Yes.
last year.
And I asked
We
for the
don't want
invoice
anybody to
to
get,
know how much.
Right.
Even Doug even told me that if I would send the invoice to them, that they would reimburse
sure,
Lions Club, but I never got one.
I understand that. Where I'm going with that though, is that, when they tore off the cover of the panel and then connected, that knocked out the power to the bathrooms. So it wouldn't, my understanding is the bathrooms weren't shut off to keep just carnival people out. They were shut down, they were closed at night because there was no electricity to them. So we do need to work together on this. And
Yes.
I think, from my perspective, let's look at how we can do that better
Sure.
in the coming years.
I do not know how electricity works, but if we could get a pole for their trailers, and I don't know if we could separate it on a bill or whatever, and we would be glad to pay that out of our profits, but this is going to be a devastation
Sure.
to our 4th of July celebration.
I'm also looking at this other text that he has here, and he says that he hadn't turned a profit since 2022.
And that's because they always gave us the profit from
Right.
it. And they were kind enough to keep coming back
Yeah.
because they supported the Lions Club.
And they had, you told me they had two others that
Yes, they
weren't
had
gonna
two,
go to this
they
year?
usually have 3 venues in this area at the time. And the other 2 canceled out.
Okay.
And so he first told me when he called me that they couldn't come because it, 700 miles. And what I thought was funny is called the Pride of Texas, but they are from Kansas.
Sure.
So anyway, and so I just kept calling him back and saying, just throwing things at him. Can we take a less profit? Will that help? Blah, blah, blah. And that's when he said, Suzanne, I was trying to spare you from griping and telling you all this stuff. So, and I said, well, just send me a text and tell me what you need to tell me, and let's see if we can work this out. I would love to work it out with them because
Sure.
I already know them. I know what they do. I know their situation, and for the last 3 years, I've been over it. And so like last year, I was there 2 times a day, making sure everything was going smooth, trying to make sure. But anyway, so we just really do need to work together.
I agree. And I've reached out to him, or to Pride of Texas.
Uh-huh.
All they have is an email address
Oh,
on their
okay.
website. There's no phone number or anything.
Okay.
So I did reach out through that email to try to
And you did
Talked to
not
him.
answer
I
you?
have not gotten a response.
Yeah,
from him,
he's
so.
really, most of the time it's text messages, so
Okay,
I can share.
I don't mind reaching out again to see.
Sure,
Yeah.
okay.
What we can do from our end.
So, anyway, and if the $5,000, I don't know if we can do a decision on that, but let's lower that. And if there is damage, we'll pay it. It's not like we're gonna say, no, So, but the $5,000 was a big chunk for us to have to pay at the last of our budget. Our budget, year ends June the 30th.
Mhm.
And so by June the 30th, we just luckily had that in there, but, we won't always have it.
Sure,
So
Okay.
if we can get that lowered.
all right, well, we'll get Matt to get you an invoice.
Okay,
And, we don't have that on the agenda to discuss today.
yeah,
Y'all want to discuss that at the next meeting?
Sure.
Ms. Summers?
Well, I think this would be an opportune time to ask, since the chamber is here, can the Lions Club ask for hot funds from the chamber for the carnival?
I guess we could. We've never done it. I don't know. I'm not
I
sure how
don't
that
know,
works.
just because the carnival has their own RVs and they don't stay at the hotels.
Yeah,
So,
Heads and beds.
so the chamber got $10,000 for fireworks.
No, ma'am, we did not get $10,000 for fireworks. We got $10,000 to
We're
go
going
towards
into
our
something that's
entertainment.
not Commissioner's Court,
yeah.
so we
Do
need
we-
to
Do we
stay on
pay
this.
for the carnival to
agenda.
come here though?
We pay their permit and we make sure, they always send me a certificate of insurance first. And I take it to the city hall and get the forms and stuff. This past year, I did not know they had changed everything. And so, I had to get Doug to fill out some of the forms and go up there right when he got to town. But now that we know, I'll have the forms ready for him to sign and stuff.
Okay.
So anyway, we do pay that $100 for that too. And, like I say, we pay for the porta potties and we pay for the electricity. So we try to help,
Yeah.
give back, but, I'm just thinking about all these little kids that love the carnival and when it's not gonna be there, it's not gonna be pleasant.
Sure.
So, anyway,
If you'll get me his number, I'll reach out to him.
okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Suzanne?
Do you mind if I just wanted to add to what Suzanne was saying. I tried my hardest to find someone to come here, and it's going to be difficult to even find someone next year. But I've already got some people that have responded, because a lot of your carnivals are going to be booked up for July 4th. They've got a contract, they've got their place they go. So, and I've got this really, really nice one that I've been discussing with, and I'm hoping to get them here. But I just want to say that, yeah, moving forward, we do need to have some kind of contract of this is how it's going to be. This is black and white, done.
Right.
Just so it doesn't cause any strain on anyone's end.
Okay, thank y'all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Scurry County Historical Commission, request from Scurry County Historical Commission to Scurry County, or Scurry County to participate in the Texas Historic Commission Courthouse Grant Program. Wow, all right. Yes, also allowing in the process. How you doing?
Libby's with me.
I didn't bring an easel in, I'm sorry.
Good morning and thank you for allowing us to come in this morning. My name's Jean Burns and I'm the chair of the Scurry County Historic Commission. And I'd like to let you know that we're here to talk about, present our community petition with support letters and businesses, or from our businesses and organization, and request support for the courthouse restoration. We have several of our commission members here. I'd like to introduce you to them. Libby, for one. We got Chad, we got Misty, Jerry, Ellen DeBette, Josh, and the others that aren't here, or most of them at the Scurry County Historical Village right now. I help in a lot of our school teachers on that situation. First of all, I also like to recognize some of the people that have written some letters of support that are also here, the Chamber for one. I don't know if the others are here, but we'll get into the other part of it. As you know, this particular structure was built in 1909, and the original still exists. And we just had a slip cover put over it. And so the complete, we've had different things when we've throughout the community in the last couple of months talking about, are you interested in this? Is this something we should pursue? And all the comments were very positive, and I'll get into some of the statistics here in a minute. But the comments that they describe our current courthouse is a tomb or a mausoleum because it actually encases our original. And the only if you also look in your folders, I put in the Scurry County Courthouse. This is done, there's 254 Texas courthouses, and there's a review online. And so I looked at our review, and I wasn't very happy or very pleasant, but this is from that site. And if you can see at the very bottom there, without a doubt, it's the most offensive desecration of Texas courthouse today. So it's not a real good review for us. The reason we're bringing this up right now is we have an opportunity for some large grants. And so that's why we're looking into this. A restored historical county courthouse preserves an important architectural feature of our Texas past while making these landmarks functional and safe for today. So we're not looking at just unveiling it to original status, but part of the plan is also to update it, the necessary things that we need for safety, ADA, accessibility, because it is the people's house. And there's some concerns about safety with the fire, danger, those kind of things. But also the elevator for personal experience. My father had a electric wheelchair and he can't get into your elevator. So anytime he could not access any other floor except the basement. And luckily most of what he needed was down there, but he couldn't come to your court session. He couldn't access anything else. So we need to, of course, be mindful of that. And so instead of just unveiling it, we're also looking at adding things that needs to be updated, safety concerns and everything else, especially for the 40 employees that work here in the Scurry or in the courthouse itself. So what we did, we went to the public and asked them, what do you think? And so what we did, several places around town, also online, we posted this particular picture, which is your favorite, which do you want? Down at the Scurry County, at the car club show on the square and also in the park, we had this posted and we said, which do you like? And we had 221 vote for the original courthouse. We had 6 that voted for this. So that was kind of like an eye opener, like, okay. And of course, some of them signed the petition. We had a lot of Scurry County people that used to live here and asked if they could sign. I said, no, I have to be here. But they said, we want you to express that if we were living here, that's what we would want, is back to the original. We collected 571 signatures for it. 342 of those were online. We also have several businesses, especially around the square, that have posted the petition. There was even a paper house, they had the petition at their cash register, thank you. And they were actually asking for signatures right there. So they definitely do support it. We have Deep Creek Paper House, Blessed Nest, and we have several other businesses. One of them, and I can never say this right, and y'all have to help me, is Invernergy. Okay, they have already contributed, or haven't yet, but they have already told me they'll give me some money to go towards the master plan. Matter of fact, the guy that works there, Rusty Smith, is meeting me in Lubbock tomorrow because what he wants to do, he said, I can only give you so much from our company, But I want to work with other businesses and go with you and collect whatever's needed to do the master plan. That's how much they believed in it. So that made me feel really good about that. DCOS, if you notice, there's a support letter from them. I was amazed how many people actually walked around our square. And they, Michelle was telling me that they have several people come in all the time asking about the square itself, and several asked, what is that building? Which referred to our courthouse. They said, that's our courthouse. So they're like wanting to know more about why we did that. As you know, it's called Brutalism Architect. Brutal was it kind of hits the wrong way, as you can tell, but that's what it was. It's a perfect example of that architecture. But what people want, though, is if the current one exists inside those walls, why can't we just take off the granite? And I thought it was interesting, some of the older writings of these, they refer it was encased with marble. It wasn't marble, it was granite. And I was kind of surprised that they wrote that in those things. We had several, while we were out there at the car show, we had a German visitor that was there. And he came by and he looked at it, and he works in masonry and granite and different minerals in Germany. And he told me, he said, that's a tomb, why would you do that? And I said, I didn't do it, so I don't know. That's what they did. I was interested to notice that the people we were interviewing, they were around at that time when it happened. And none of them understood why it happened because they were all against it. So there was a group I know that were for it. But one of the things their question was why. And I think the only thing they came up with was maybe energy. If we close all the windows and, we have better heating and air conditioning or something. But it was very brutal. And it was interesting, the comment of those that were children during that time. What they remarked were all the trees were cut down. Apparently there were a lot of trees around it. And when they went to build it, they had to cut all the trees down. And so I thought that was an interesting comment from them. So why should we do it now? Why are we even talking about it? Well, all the courthouses in the state of Texas are owned by the county. But if they're 50 years or older, and our original is over 50, of course, and even the slip cover we put over it is over 50 years old. So it becomes protected under special Texas codes. The Texas Historical Commission has been provided funds from our legislators to help our counties restore their courthouses. We have an opportunity at this moment to restore a courthouse back to its original grandeur, to meet the ADA requirements and also safety concerns. This time has come for our county to provide our citizens with the opportunity to honor a past while also providing a functional courthouse for our future. It will also extend the life of our courthouse. That's one of the things they do while they plan it, is to extend it. Make it a place for all people, an important architectural feature of Texas past, a place our county will have pride in, a landmark tourists will come and see, which will provide income for our businesses. Also in your packet here, like I said, I put letters of support from this chamber. There's also one from the Ritz, one of our businesses here on the square that definitely would benefit from it, and also from our DCOS. I also put a thing in here, and this is from the Texas Historical Commission, of some of the benefits that they have seen in the past several years of courthouses in Texas that have been restored. And I just want to kind of summarize a little bit of that, but you can see all of them there. First of all, we need a master plan. The master plan tells us exactly, can it be done? How can it be done? The cost, also things that might need to be done, such as the elevator itself, updating that so our people could get into it. They'll give us each thing's restoration and prioritize our urgent needs, estimate costs, develop timelines. And one thing, we're looking at Komatsu. He's done many restorations of courthouses in Texas. He's registered with Texas as an agriculture or architecture He also has been licensed here over 66 years, his company. But the thing that I like about him is he works hand in hand during the process with the Texas Historical Commission. They're the ones that we will apply for grants. They have grants right now up to $10 million to help our courthouse. Right now, the legislator, they're also talking about increasing that. And we don't know if that's per courthouse, maybe they can give us a little bit more, or just give us more money for more courthouses to assess. We don't really know of that at this moment, but the money is available. We can get 10 million. And Komatsu works with them hand in hand, and he knows how to get it. So before we have it done, we already have it in with them. And it all comes down with timelines. And so we need to get this started by June. So the next cycle, which is January, February, I think, we'll be able to apply for that grant and start on the way. That's why we're kind of bringing it up right now. The master plan will have structure, architectural assessments, historical documentation, preservation guidelines, the cost estimates, and the phasing. So I have certain phases that we need to go through. Like I said, I already have one company that has already decided that they want to be a part of this. And not only that, he wants to be a part of going with me to ask other companies, which I thought was pretty impressive because they believe that needs to happen and it benefits our community and our county. Just kind of a summary of what you saw there on your benefits. It acts like a stimulus package locally. Spent dollars are multiplied 6 times typically by Chamber of Commerce method. Reinvestment dollars are attracted and spent in the downtown and courthouse square. Jobs are created through construction, but also it encourages new or revitalized businesses to be a part of the revitalization effect. And it also will increase property tax revenue for the city if we have other businesses and new things that come in. And they have found through the research, this is not somebody just saying it, but because there's so many other county courthouses that have been restored, what they're doing is giving you the statistics of what happened in their community. So that's what all that's about. The last page in there kind of gives you just what the master plan encompasses, and that's what we have to work on right now. So we respectfully, our commissioner, or not commissioner, you guys are the commissioners, but the historical commission that we're a part of, ask the court to support and authorize the development of this restoration master plan. A restored courthouse honors our past, but it strengthens our future. And preservation is an investment in civic pride, economic opportunity, and community identity. No longer the tomb. It's the people's house. And we want it to be accessible for all, provide safety for employees and the people utilizing the courthouse. And if y'all have any questions or comments, I know Judge Hicks knows the timelines better than I do. So if you have that, he could help you deal. Can you think of anything else?
So, Robert keeps up with the numbers of the people that come into the courthouse. I asked him to do that a few years ago, not realizing how much we would actually use that. So, in 2022, 40,865 people came in to the courthouse. 2023, that was an election year. 2023, 35,958. He didn't have the numbers for 2024, but for 2025, so far, 14,712 people have come in. And there's some days, like in 2022, he was out 25 days, and those days weren't counted. So the timeline on the grant process. So there are 3 steps or 3 phases. First is a master plan, which you have to have before you get started on anything. It tells you everything. It tells you if you need plumbing, electrical. It tells you what updates needed to be done, where you stand with what you currently have. They'll also come in and do, if you don't have the original plans to the courthouse, they'll do a scan of the courthouse. And that will give you the original bone structure of the building. I've looked for the original plans and haven't found those yet. We have the 1971 plans, but not the originals. But the timeline is that they'd start the master plan in June to be ready to apply for the planning stage. The planning stage is where they do the plans, decide how it's all gonna be done, and that is, you can either apply for that grant or not. Planning costs, there was one Gonzales County planning, they're similar size. It was a little over $1 million to do the planning phase. It was a 30% match, so they would have had to pay about $300,000 towards that. The restoration is the next phase. That if you get the grant in July of next year for the planning phase, they do the planning and that takes about a 2-year process. So you're looking at 26 being awarded, 28 is when the next phase of the grant process would be, and that's the restoration. So with that $10 million, if you are awarded that grant, $1 million comes off the top of that. So your remaining grant that you are allowed to get from Texas Historical Commission is $9 million. If at 2028, the funds weren't there to do, if it was over $9 million to do the restoration, which Comanche County is doing a full restoration, theirs is $9 million. So if you weren't able to, if you didn't have the funds to, if it was over that, to do the match, which is a 15% match or anything over that 9 million or 10 million, whichever it may be, then you don't have to apply at that time. You can wait. You don't have to go step by step by step. There are other counties that have elected to just do the master plan or the master plan and the planning and haven't gotten to doing the restoration. So restoration wouldn't even come about until, the grant wouldn't come around until 2028. So there's 3 years before any type of restoration would be done. A master plan costs about $87,000, and they're trying to raise funds to
$87,000.
that. I've also been talking to Mr. Komatsu because he has ties to Snyder. He came by and wanted to talk about that. They came in, I think it was 2009, for this same project. And they were here for the, the depot. His wife has family here. And so he has some ties to Scurry County and he's done a lot of courthouses. Didn't you say he has 100%?
Yes.
On the
Every project that they have been a part of, wrote the plan, they receive the grants for their clients, all of that. And that's one thing I found out real quick too on doing some research. Some of these companies will come in and give you, say, we could do this free or we could give you a reduced rate, but they make up for it through their construction costs. And Komatsu told me that there was 3 companies that he had to go in, or 3 clients that called him in because they started with this other company, and because of construction costs and they didn't do something right, they called them in to finish it, and it ended up costing them more. So we have to be really, really careful in who we choose and look at their how they do it, how successful they are. And Komatsu is very successful. Every one of his clients received a grant, but because when he develops his plan, the master plan, he's working hand in hand with the Texas Historical Commission. So by the time it comes to us applying for it, they already know what's going on because he's worked with them. So that part I liked because it's step by step. I don't want to, what do you call it? I want to get something we can afford, something we can do that's not going to cost taxpayers, money if, we can keep it with them. But we want to do it right the first time. You like that old saying, you get what you paid for. And so I want to be really, really careful about that. And we want to screen, our commission wants to screen them and make sure that we're the person doing the job. I don't wanna get in that situation.
Sure.
So,
Do you have any questions so far?
The initial $1 million
Mhm.
to get the grant. Does Scurry County have to pay that?
The $1 million. So if we were to do the master plan and, we decided to move forward with the planning without going through the grant process, yes, Scurry County would pay for that. However, if you go through the grant process, it's a 30% match. So there's no guarantee that the planning would cost $1 million. I have no idea what it would cost. There's really no way to know what any of this, other than the master plan. No way to know what the costs are gonna be up front. But basing it on someone similar, that was the cost for them. And so you wouldn't have. You had to figure out where to bring the match from. And I would suggest not raising the tax rate for that.
No, that's the reason I'm asking.
Right.
I mean, we have had a beautiful courthouse. We did, I remember. We all went as a kid.
You're talking about that one?
Yep,
Right.
that's it.
yeah, and one thing I thought was interesting, there's 5 eagles that was on here. So that, you know, we wanna look at that and to restore this, but like, Judge Hicks says, if we had the original plans for this, we can save some money. So if anybody knows if they're hiding in an attic somewhere, that would save a little money. But what they can come in, they're do a scan, and the scan will help us with the architecture part. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but, anyway, that's kind of what we're trying to go right back to that.
Because
So,
you're gonna have an assessment associated, because we don't know how the grant is tied to the original.
It actually goes right up to it. The steel doesn't actually go into the brick.
Yeah. there's a space
Yeah,
between.
there are 17-foot piers at each of those. Just bare minimum information. The rest of it, I don't know as far as how it ties in.
But
You're right.
I mean, that
the
was,
impressive part, when we opened this door over here and I saw these columns, that was like, wow. I mean, it's inside. So, I mean, it's
Also-
there.
It is. And talking with Mr. Komatsu, this is not something we budgeted for, and we don't know that they would get all of the funds. They would be willing to allow us to budget for it for the next budget year if there was anything over what they aren't able to get in donations.
Talking about the 87.
87, yes.
I mean, that's, I love some courthouse back. I would. And the, you know, the expense and us not getting a $2 million bill after the grant.
Sure. Yeah.
That's my concern.
Sure.
And the Texas, if they do up the amount of your house, which the mayor think that actually,
In listening to the talks on the legislation and talking to legislators as to why they're wanting to move, currently it's $43 million that they have for courthouse renovation. They're talking about bringing it up to $100 million. In talking to the legislators, the reasoning behind bumping that up is because they understand that the costs have gone up so much to redo a courthouse.
Right.
So it sounds like they're wanting to put more towards individual, but that, I don't know. Who knows?
hurry up, wait.
Right.
Like I said,
I wonder if you can use the grant money to remove the grant that's on the courthouse.
I would think so. I would
That'd be
think
restoration.
to bring it back to that. Yeah, I think that would be.
Can you take the grant off the courthouse with the equipment you'd have to have without cutting down a lot of trees?
I don't
What
know.
kind of damage would be done? All this stuff weighs a It weighs a lot.
Yeah.
Of course, Sweetwater would have an idea of that from what it cost them 8 years or 10 years ago, might be double now.
I'm sure it is.
All of those questions would be answered in the master plan.
So,
That's the thing, we
Does-
don't know.
Does the master plan talk about the disruption of offices and where they go?
right,
Yeah, that is something that would be a concern. However, that's something that,
I mean, that.
There is-
they're not gonna pay for that.
no, I don't know. I don't know if it
Wouldn't
does.
think so.
I don't know. But that's something that would need to be looked into, for sure.
And
But we have time.
can we talk to the Texas Historical Commission and find out if some of those questions can be answered before we start spending money?
Before doing the master plan? I don't know if we could get an answer before, I mean, we can talk to them, yeah, but, with the timeline, the way it is, that would be the only concern.
We've waited this long,
Sure.
2 more years wouldn't, I mean, if we couldn't get done this year, we'd do it next.
But
But I mean,
it'd be 28.
I'm just getting so many people that, yeah, they wish it was back like it was, but how does it get paid for? With
Sure.
all of the disruption, all of the different, offices going out of the courthouse, where are they housed at? How do they communicate?
Sure.
It's like the sheriff's office communicates through fiber to the servers that are in this courthouse. How do you know, without, I mean, you're gonna have to put fiber somewhere to wherever these servers go to.
Sure.
To be able to get that information, and then the auditor and treasurer is gonna have that coming to them, and then the district clerk is the same thing. I mean, it's not like you're, with all the technology we have today, there's a lot of things to consider that
There is.
it's gonna cause a disruption that's gonna be very difficult and costly.
that's always been my concern, because, I mean, this has been a topic for years.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Where do they go? Okay,
That is a question.
How do they communicate when they get there?
That is a question.
Well,
And that's,
the auditor's office, they don't need a disruption,
Oh,
treasurer doesn't.
they've been having one.
Well, I know,
We're in a constant state of wind right
I
now.
know, and that's my point. You take away what they are doing now, just regular business, tax office, okay? I mean, there's a lot to be considered.
Oh, there's fiber from the appraisal district to the tax office that has to.
there is. And these are all questions that we can get answered.
You think the
You
master
don't-
plan answers that question?
I don't know that it answers that question, but those are things that we'll probably have to answer ourselves, right? And we can get those answers while we're getting the master plan done. It's kind of the thought that I was having. Because if you don't go forward in any way at all, if you don't have the answer, you're not gonna get any answers. So,
I don't want to get the cart before the horse. I want
sure,
some of
and
these,
I don't either.
we need to get, I mean, a lot of these can be, if we're gonna have to answer them ourselves, then we need to answer them. If you spend $87,000 and then it turns out that you can't figure out a way to answer all of those things and how everybody communicates like they are now, which is never gonna be impossible, being in segregated places.
Something else that it does, that master plan identifies any problems you have existing in your building. So if you've got major plumbing issues,
Yeah.
which we know we have plumbing issues, if you have electrical issues, and you can decide to, my understanding from Councilman Kamatsu is that you can decide to do some of those issues outside of the grant. For example, the HVAC. We know that is outdated at this point. We're gonna have to figure out in the next 3 to 5 years, have a plan for 3 to 5 years, what we're gonna do with the HVAC. And this would tie into that. So
The grant would pay for a new HVAC, is that what you're saying? Possibly, don't know.
this could help us get an answer to where everything stands.
Okay.
And as far as the grant could potentially cover that as well. So, because when it does it, it's not just taking the granite off, it's doing everything else that's
Yeah.
inside of it.
Oh, yeah. When you take the granite off, you've got 10 million wires
Right,
that are gonna have to go somewhere.
right.
Phone wires to fiber to,
And doing the master plan doesn't mean that we have to apply for the planning stage.
yeah.
You know, that would be the next, but it would help us to identify where to even go at that point.
Right.
The one thing they look is longevity. They try to increase the life of your courthouse by looking at, at those things. And that's one thing I liked about his planning is he tries to increase the life of our courthouse.
Sure.
So,
Well, there's infrastructure in this courthouse, no doubt, that needs help.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done a lot over the years,
Oh,
of
yeah.
course. I mean, whenever I first came here, the boiler room doesn't look anything like it does now.
Right.
It's upgraded a lot.
right,
A lot of things a lot of things that we didn't have, like internet, good phone systems, things like that, definitely are different now. But I can see how you can address some of the plumbing problems, HVAC and stuff like that through doing something like this, but the cost of it, what I'm getting is from the people I've talked to, they're saying, we want to vote on this. We want to have a countywide election. And I have no problem with that. I mean, that costs money too, though. That's $10,000-$15,000.
No, there's
To have a
constitutional
county-
amendment in November already, added on there,
And so that'd be great.
no cost.
Yeah. Okay.
Add it on, you can add it on as a part of the constitutional amendment.
I mean, if 80% or the majority of the people want to do this, I have nothing to say. Let's do it.
I just need to put X amount of dollars out there. And then there's so many unanswered questions, you've lost that money. Okay? And like I said, I love sitting back.
Oh, me
I don't have an issue with it other than the finances.
And how far back do they require you to go? Because if you go back to that, then you got a hole right up through all those floors, all the way to the top.
Yeah.
Because the heat, they didn't have air conditioning, so the heat went out through the vents of that dome. That was the whole idea, I'm assuming at the beginning.
Well, what they'll do is they'll take the original and then make it modern, modify it, and of course, bring it back to looking original, but with the new technologies, the new efficiencies, the new things like that. One thing that, we have that issue with the granite that's already started to move. So, we're just gonna keep kicking the can, because that's an issue that needs to be resolved, and I'll take responsibility of that. I didn't go back and go out for bids to bring back to the court to go out for bids for the other issues, the fixing of the other things. But that's something that, that's gonna have to be addressed as well.
It did.
And to me, if they're willing to get as much in donations as they can get, and if there's some left over, we were able to budget a little bit for next year to do a master plan, that would tell us everything that needs to be done. And we can still have an election in November to see if that's something that.
I have no problem with that.
And if we did the master plan first, I feel like you're gonna answer their questions and they'll know what they're voting on. Give them an actual number, an actual plan, an actual timeline. It's hard to vote on something when you have so many
Absolutely.
questions.
They need all the
The master
information
plan.
that's
Right.
possible
That master plan's that
to
first
make
step.
sure.
that gives us our information.
Absolutely.
Ms. Summers?
was there a vote back when this courthouse was done like it is, or did the court decide to do that?
I think the court
The
decided
court
to do that.
did, and I remember my dad saying when they put this granite, whatever you call it.
Mausoleum?
Yeah. I call it my granite box. They got 4 new commissioners, as they come up. And the county judge, because of what they did. I do remember that. And, you know, reasoning behind it. Maybe
The only thing I could find reasoning behind it was right after the Sparkle City and the modernization of the square.
Yeah.
And so they wanted to keep on brand, and same person that did this did the Coliseum, and they they're cousins. They're not twins, but they're cousins. You can
Right.
tell.
Yeah.
And so that's the only reasoning I found through my research was they just wanted to get with the times of that early 70s. You know, everyone was going kind of modern and space age, and this was the decisions that were made.
So,
Also, Willie Nelson was popular during the 70s, man. So, and I was under the impression y'all weren't getting AC back.
so when this courthouse was built originally, then the newspaper, The Light believes that no other one thing would assist more in forcing a railroad to come to Snyder should it come through this section of the county than an erection of a $40,000 or $50,000 courthouse.
I wish.
Public buildings are what impress strangers with the fact that citizens are there to make them home. Then it goes on to say that it did bring the railroad. The railroad did come into Snyder after that. And I'm not saying we're trying to bring the railroad in, but it brings, when you do something like this, it brings dollars to here because people go to counties just to see courthouses. And they spend money downtown, they stay the night, they, eat at the restaurants and go to the shops. It also brings other businesses in, and that's one way to get growth. Like I said, I'm not suggesting we raise taxes to do this. But if we want growth, there are other places that are doing things to help growth. And I think we should be a part of that as well. So I personally think that we should allow them to move forward with the master plan. We can set up an election in November to get the public input on moving forward with the planning. But, they're looking at getting as many donations as they can. I don't know if they'll reach the 87,000 or not. But
87,000 for the master plan. Correct. Okay. If they can't raise it, we're gonna have to cough it up, so to speak.
yes,
Okay. Where's it gonna come from?
that's where we could put that in the 26 budget. We're coming into budget season, we could give them until, we would set the budget in August. So give them the opportunity until then to see how much they bring in. They may bring in 30,000, they may bring in 50,000, they may bring in 87,000. But they may bring in 5,000, I don't know.
Well, one benefit of paying, even if we do have to pay for some of it, is knowing what it's gonna take to get our infrastructure that is outdated
Absolutely.
back in good condition. It's gonna happen.
Yes.
Kamatsu talked about that a lot of, these people now know what's going on with their courthouse.
Exactly.
But I mean, like I said, it comes down to the money and the disruption that it's gonna cost for me. And I just,
I understand that, and that's something that we as a court will have to decide how we're
I
going to
think
move
by the
forward
time
on
we
that.
vote on it, we'll have enough information for people to truly understand what the costs are going to be, possibly. And certainly the legislature, hopefully, will be out of session and know if there's gonna be more money there. I don't have any problem with the master plan because it actually helps us to know what we need to do about the infrastructure we've got now, regardless if we go ahead and build or not. I think that's something you're gonna have to pay for anyway.
It is.
Wasn't it last year or year before when we all voted to get the courthouse fixed? and we never have done that. I know we were gonna go back out to get rebids, but
And that was 75,000 to do that, to do the grant. This is less to know more information.
Yeah, but, and they keep
Well, not less.
down on money, but like this, you said it was 75,000 to fix it.
Mhm.
Okay, if it's 3 or 4 years out, how many more times are we gonna have to spend that? Because it's been here since 72.
Sure.
And, I mean, it's just, there's too many unknowns. You know,
I guess that's where you get some of your understanding from, is if you've got the master plan, then you actually know a lot of things that we're gonna have to know anyway, going forward, about plumbing, HVAC. We don't know if we're gonna have to spend another $75,000 to keep the granite from breaking off the Sweetwater. A chunk of it fell off and almost killed a person. So, theirs is different than ours to some degree, but still, it's an ongoing problem, especially with the earthquakes.
Ms. Summer?
Regarding the 87,000, could the court not say at some point, not maybe today, but the commission, the historical commission has to come up with X amount of dollars in donations before we even go forward with agreeing to pay the rest?
If we do that, that would put it off another 2 years because the cycle starts now.
So
So,
have they raised any? Have you raised any?
yeah, they've got Invenergy that said that they would give them some money.
There's been, like I said, that one company has already pledged some money towards it. So I'm meeting with him tomorrow to go and talk to the other businesses here in Scurry County. And that's where we're at right now. That what he wants to do
If
is
you don't
get,
set any guidelines, then there's no incentive to go out and ask
That's
for.
what I was saying a little while ago, is that we give them until August before we set the budget, and any remaining, the commissioner's court puts it in the budget to cover the remainder. So, give you June and July to gather up as much donations as possible, because it's gonna take time. And then, come August 1st, whatever's remaining. And I know Jean's she's not gonna just say, well, we'll get $5,000 and then let the court cover the rest of it. No, that's not what the historical commission is gonna try to do.
Well, if I read the agenda on this item, route, it's not on there for us to make a decision. It's a request from them.
Let's discuss and consider. So when you go to the top, discuss and consider, it covers all of them.
Okay.
Consider action to be taken on.
It scares me to death. It really does.
To get an assessment of where we stand? Because that's really all that's being asked for today.
I understand that. But
What scares you?
the whole deal, there's too many unknowns.
You're afraid of finding out what's actually the problem?
Yeah, I'm afraid to find what demons are actually we're gonna run into. And
I'd rather find out what they are ahead of time than them have them pop their ugly heads up at us.
then, of course, you see, they're not gonna be able to tell everything, even it's gonna pop up. It's no different than building a new house. Stuff comes in.
Stuff does come up very, yeah, it does.
we just feel that, if we had a plan Is it feasible? It's something we're interested, it answers a lot of questions for us. And it's a great opportunity because there's grant money available. $10 million, that's a lot of money, and it's something that we could restore back to. So far, at least the number of people we've talked to wants it. So they don't want to be a team anymore. They want to go back to what's underneath it. And if it doesn't exist, that would have been something different, but it exists. And so we just want to find out, can we do it? Is it feasible? And,
If you want it on the ballot, you can't wait. You need to, if you want to put it on the ballot.
I think with us being able to put it on the ballot and with the need for us to have an assessment anyway of our infrastructure, that it's worth doing. So I make a motion that we grant the request from the Scurry County Historical Commission to participate in the Texas Historical Commission Courthouse grant program.
Second. Okay, do you want to allow them to choose the architect for that?
Yes.
Good. Motion and a second, all in favor?
thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Get it on the ballot.
Yeah. We'll put that on the next agenda. Okay, consider changes to the road use agreement. It's something Terry's been working on for a while. Looked at these.
Yeah, this thing just got so convoluted from attorneys that know nothing about road repair and road safety, and saying that the developer would take care of damage to the road during the construction period. And you talk to any one of them that come in here to do this development, they have no idea who to talk to or how to repair or safety measures to take. We had vehicles turn over. We had this last one, trucks slide down bridge railings for 150 feet, hang the belly dump off down into the creek.
That's not safe.
Not really. And so just wanted to simplify it back. I mean, it's just been written and from an attorney's viewpoint, rather than from someone like ourselves that know our roads, that know how to repair roads, know how to get traffic safely down those roads. And so I just I wanted to take it out. Everything that's in, I believe it's in green, that's talking about developer doing work, developer hiring contractor. Well, you know, we hired a contractor out here for Cavender Road, biggest mistake we ever made.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. It was a total wreck. And, you know, we could have definitely done a better job.
Well, we did.
And we had to go back and redo it with $100,000 in it. No telling what it really cost. Because that's what we withheld from them, which we shouldn't have paid them anything. But that's neither here nor there, different court. And so all I did was simplify it, where we are the ones that are repairing the road during construction. And they reimburse us for doing that. We're the ones that after it is done, we supply to the developer a written, itemized form stating what we believe it will take to put the road back into the condition it was prior to the developer coming in. Left some of the language in there, whereas if it's normal wear and tear, then we don't put that in that list. of what it would take to repair it back to its original state. The roads, they were, and y'all know, our roads are pretty narrow, and it's usually the edges that get torn all to pieces, and then it narrows the road, makes the road rough. Even if you repair it, you can do all the repairs you want to, and it's still gonna be rough. And this was what I finally was able to interject into the developers' minds, because I spoke it to 8 or 10 at a time on Zoom. And they finally sent people out, and we looked at it, and I just told them, I said, when you first came, this road was very smooth. And it isn't. And we repaired it. And, you know, we didn't even charge them for that. This one, and it's always been there, that they would, you know, reimburse us for anything that repairs that we did. But in the end, by continuing to visit with them and visit with their people that came and videoed the roads with us, we were able to get them to understand finally, after months of negotiation, that the road needed to be remediated completely. And so this is what the new RUA states. It's just a simplified version. We're doing the work. We're getting reimbursed during the development, and we're also getting reimbursed after the developer has finished the job. And so just getting all the fluff out of it, putting it back in our hands, because if they get a contractor who comes in here and they do the work, and this is what I tell them, you can get a contractor and you can get them to do the work. But if we're not happy with that, then we're still going to expect that you're going to get it done right. And every time they've asked us to do the work. So I just don't see any reason to have that in there where they can actually get a contractor themselves, because we can do it cheaper and better, because it's ours. We care about it.
I'm still fighting that battle with what we find.
And it's not an easy battle.
No, it's not. They won't bring in contractors.
Well, not all contractors are gonna be like the one y'all had. I mean, in
No.
my opinion, I'd rather have the option to,
But they are gonna be more expensive than we are.
not necessarily.
Yeah, we can do it cheaper. I guarantee you we can, because we don't have to pay taxes on all of that road material. And we've got the machinery to do it.
Yeah.
And we're not paying the pricing that contractors pay their people. We buy our equipment at a discount.
Yeah, they probably get their materials a lot cheaper than us too.
No, they don't. I guarantee you they don't.
Well, the only thing about us doing it is time. You know, depending on how much you have to do.
Right.
That's the deal. I think I'll put in there $4 million up front.
Well, I mentioned that too, but we're trying them to have a cash bond, and if it's used up, because they tear the heck out of these roads, they destroy them.
They do.
They do.
They don't think they do, but they do.
You know, we can't take care of the blacktops we have now, due to the price increase, and just, I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah.
But there's, I didn't see anything in there that would hold them to that though, Terry.
Hold them to,
We do it ourselves, okay? And all we're gonna do is send them a bill.
I've always been paid every time.
Yeah.
I've never failed to get paid for what the damage that these guys have done. What I have had is for them to try to repair just caliche roads. And we wound up every time it rained, because they didn't know what they were doing.
No,
They were pushing the material off in the ditches, and the roads became worse and worse. We had to go out and repair and repair and repair. And so if they're doing it, you're gonna wind up with a mess.
Oh, well,
That, I've seen it every time. They did it out here on Code, they did it out here on Bess, they did it with Lumina 2. I don't know how they did out on yours. Well, you didn't have that many county roads that they went down, on Commissioner Scott, but, I know that I don't want them repairing any of my roads. We had
I
to,
don't either.
you know, because they have, just like this first mile, in fact, the developer was a little bit flabbergasted whenever I told him, I said, y'all are supposed to be repairing during the construction period. You're supposed to be repairing all of these roads as per the RUA. We don't have the equipment for that. We don't know how to do that. We don't know anyone that can do it. And I said, that's why we do it. And we did, we rebuilt, several. We rebuilt 1116, we rebuilt 146 on our own dime. But the money that we were able to negotiate, we'll pay for that.
I mean, I have to admit, you did take that a lot of fluff.
And it's just against us. Anything in green is against us. And again, it wasn't developers that wrote that. That's what's been added from the first time that we had a developer come in till now. It just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it makes no sense.
What do you two think?
Well, I feel, like you mentioned, you know, we've mentioned it before. I don't know if we could add requiring a bond, but as well, I mean,
You could. Sure.
Because like I said, I'm still butting heads with next year, and I'm sure they feel too.
hadn't heard a word back from them.
Nope, me neither, and I've tried to call them, and so,
Well, I don't know. Maybe there's a possibility we can talk to them about taking away the abatement.
I think that's why they won't.
I mean, if they actually, if you actually can show them, I mean, because it's supposed to be video before and after. And if you can show them if you're looking at the video with them and the code is different, damaged, totally damaged, like it was out on ours, then you should be able to negotiate a cost with them.
Well, see, we got into that too, because when NextEra put in that wind farm, Jeff had part of it, I had the majority. It said in the road use agreement that we were supposed to be present when we video it. We weren't.
They didn't call you
Nope.
to do it? Did they, so neither time, before and or after,
No, I've got
the first one?
the books on my desk that neither one of us were present for.
Wow. Double that. They didn't follow the RUA then, did they?
No.
And I, you know, what I've taken out is not gonna change that. These developers, when they come in, we're just gonna have to stay on top of it. I mean, as far if they starting the development and they haven't contacted us to go out and do the video before they start bringing in heavy equipment, then we're going to have to knock on their door right then at the beginning of the development. You know, we can't wait for them. If they're not calling us, we got to call them at the beginning. They're more likely to work with us in the beginning for sure than they are after the project's finished. But I don't know, that's something Mike, we'd have to talk to Mike about, as far as the ability to, what can we do? And what do we have the proof, first of all, and what can we do to hold their feet to the fire? Can you reverse the abatement? I don't know.
I doubt it, but I'll throw that out there the last time we talked. That may be why I have from.
I don't know.
Did you run this by Mike?
Oh, yeah,
These changes, yes.
Yeah.
yeah, Mike, actually put a few extra words in there.
He's an attorney.
Yes, sir. But anything that you guys wanna add back in, let's talk about it. If you have something you wanna add in it, like the bond, does it, from what I've heard, bonds don't really have a lot of teeth. Well, we need something. But I've never had a developer that didn't pay up. From Invenergy to Kyle to the best, they've all paid.
So do they contact you before they start this video?
Yes, sir.
So I've never had one contact me either.
If they hadn't contacted me, I'd have contacted them. Well, I was talking to them the whole time, and they wouldn't do anything without contacting me.
Well, that's what I ran into with this last group that he had, started out with a guy and then go too much down the line. Oh, he's not here no more. We've got another guy. They're not communicating with us.
I dealt with that too.
So do
I
we
mean,
need to add your,
6 or 8 different ones.
whoever the commissioner is for that precinct, add that into there?
It
Your
is,
contact will be, Commissioner.
You don't really do that.
it does say commissioner will, the commissioner and,
Sure.
or the designee.
Right, but do we need to add something in there? This project will be in whatever precinct, 3 and 4. It's 3 and 4. Your contacts are commissioners for precinct 3 and 4, and then list out the email and phone numbers and all that. Any agreement?
That'd be all right with me.
That would be, there's nothing wrong with that. My developers I've dealt with have always come and visited with me and, before the project, or they would ask me to come out to their offices. And, we would visit there.
We didn't have that.
But you really gotta, if they're not talking to you, and I've gone out there sometimes whenever I was trying to visit with them about certain things, I've had to go back 2 or 3 times to catch them. I mean, they're hit the ground and they are running. And I've had to deal with different supervisors as well, multiple supervisors.
Are you seeing any counties that do the bonds? Have you talked to anybody?
There was one, and I'll have to go back through my notes. I don't remember who it was, but that's what they said they did. They required $1 million. I think it was $1 million, is what they told me.
Well, that one speaker when we was at Abilene, that county judge from
Childers?
Childers, maybe.
That might have been where it was.
He was pretty blatant about it.
But I'd like, if we could add those things, I think, if we need to discuss them more, that's fine. I mean, I think we have the general understanding, but if we can add it, I'd like to add that and what, the contact information especially, because if you remember, we did go out there and speak with them once and they give us cards and, oh yeah, we're gonna get in touch with y'all, and they did for a little bit, and when it changed, it just quit.
Yeah.
They did re-cleat some roads with some pretty sorry material. After I told them I wanted it to be state approved, and they did like you said, they went out there and bladed from bar ditch to bar ditch, pulling clay up on top of the road.
Right.
And then when we had a grass fire, due to the lightning, it rained on it, the fire trucks couldn't get down the road.
Right. Yeah, there's going to be situations that you're just gonna have to deal with.
Do we want to talk to Mike about the bond? Or is that it? We don't.
No, I'd like to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put that on the next agenda to discuss.
If we change it, put the contact information in there. This is not in there.
Okay. Well, I think we can,
I think we can approve it.
yeah,
With the changes.
okay. And get Mike's thoughts on that. Okay.
And if Mike agrees, then we'll add it. If he don't, then we won't.
Okay.
Is that all right, you, Terry?
Yes, sir, it is.
Add these things pending county attorney approval.
That's great.
Second.
No, I said,
You made the
You
motion.
made it.
All in favor? Okay. Transfer funds to Texas Class Airport. There's,
We had already certified these funds. It was a 50,000 from Fuel for the airport. We certified it, a couple of months,
Yeah.
commissioners courts. But on the agenda, it wasn't to place it in Texas Class Airport, and this is just to get it on the agenda. Class Airport.
and we'll go ahead and Texas Class Precinct 1 account, and that's the same thing. We did it on the same date, we just didn't transfer that date.
I'll make a motion, we transfer funds for the airport to Texas Class. Transfer funds received from road damage for precinct 1 to Texas Class.
Second.
All in favor? All right. Minerals update. Went to the update the other day and, this was from Capital Appraisal Group. They do all the mineral valuations. And they showed how things are going. So it showed all of the properties that are minerals in town. There's 536 leases, 2,322 wells, 68 operators, only 10 with more than 10 leases. They're 100% oil leases, no gas leases, but production is 10% gas. 2024 production is 11 million barrels of oil, 38 million MCF of gas. 68 total operators, but 9 of them have 40% of the leases and 72% of the wells. 9 operators that are not the same have 90%, 93% of oil production and 99% of gas production. Top 10 operators by value is over 10 million and 95% of total value. And 1 operator owns 64% of the value. And another producing leases, and that's all the different ones that are here. They're showing the trend of oil and gas production declining 10% per year. The dotted line that's darker is their current projection. The lighter colors are their previous projections from, I think, last year. It would be last year because that was their first year. So they're showing it declining faster than what they were showing it declining last year. Oil production declined 7% year over year. Gas is 9% year over year. They said, don't look at the last bit of that right there where it falls off drastically. That's the last month, and sometimes it's slow getting reports back from Railroad Commission. That's for IRA. Currently, production trend is dropping. That's where, see those, where it falls off the table right there? He said, don't look at that. That's not necessarily accurate. But it does show declines, that's for 12%. This is the revenues. 2024, 11 billion barrels of crude oil, $853 million in revenue, and that's where they set their prices. So they project the following year what the price is going to be, and some are fairly accurate, some not so accurate. But this is where it's going to. This is where this past year was, or where they projected it, and then it was 76.92, so it was higher. And then gas is way down. And that just describes how they come up with their calculations. Oil prices, there we go. 2025, 70, so it's down 11%. Gas price over the prior year, last 4 years, it was pretty good in 23 for gas price, and now it's less than half. They're saying there's a combined effect indicates, the combined effect indicates a 20% value drop. These are preliminary numbers. They don't have the final numbers yet, but that's what it could potentially be. Circuit breaker. So I know the court understands this, but so everybody else understands. The legislature, in their wisdom 2 years ago, decided they were gonna put a circuit breaker on any real property value, and minerals is considered real property. What they did is they said that you cannot assess the value more than 20% in any given year. So what that means is if 2024, the circuit breaker assessed value was $20,000 and the appraised value for 2025 is $30,000, you can't go up higher than $24,000, so you lose $6,000 in valuation. Where that really hurts is the way the oil is so volatile. Let me go back a little bit. Say it's $100 a barrel right here, and it drops to $70 a barrel, and then it goes back up to $70 or $100 a barrel. You can only go up that 20%, and so you lose that value. So we, in effect, are losing $48 million in value because of that circuit breaker. And every legislator knows, because every oil producing company in Texas has hit them with that. Howard County is going to be in bad shape next year if they don't fix this. We could be in bad shape if they don't fix this, because that cuts out a lot of the value.
Yeah.
That just goes over the production times the price minus expense equals the revenue. Am I boring you? Price pessimism. When prices are lower and when the future markets don't look optimistic, prudent oil companies begin making cuts. So on the 2nd of May, ExxonMobil first quarter profit slumps to the lowest level in years as energy prices fade on expected global slowdown. In February, the oil and gas firm Chevron announced on Wednesday that it plans to lay off 15 to 20% of its global workforce by the end of 2026. Hopefully that all changes in the next coming months. Every time there's president changes, the price of oil goes one direction or the other. So that's where we stand. Potentially, we could see a 20% decrease in valuation. And so to make you aware of what's coming come budget time, that's one of those big things that affects us. So, any questions? Like I said, that's preliminary numbers. We don't know what the final numbers are gonna be until July 25th, I believe.
That's the final thing. We should have one out. Typically, there's a 5-point swing,
Yep.
one way or the other.
The other.
Can go up or down.
Mhm.
Looks like a tight year.
Hope for the best.
That's what we can do. Guess we'll wait for Sean.
Oh, come on, Judge, I want to make a motion.
I want to make a motion that we finish up so we can go eat.
Our stomachs are making all kinds of noises.
We're gonna make a motion.
Yeah, we got time. Let's do the treasury report and the personnel information.
Do y'all did y'all see the new format for the treasurer's report off of the new system?
We love it all.
We love it all. I love that, Terry. I think that it's easier to look at, to read, aesthetically. It just looks more put together and easier. So Do y'all have any questions? Is it
Slowly loads.
Slow.
It slows, that's a good way to put that.
I know Angela's report is on there and hers is in the new format also.
Yeah.
Mine's on the website though.
Yes.
There's a link to the website.
Yes, it,
We are so proud of our new software.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
yes.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, well, yes, it's still-
On the back end, it's a lot of work.
Okay, yeah, to learn how to run that report was a whole different thing.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Judge, I make a motion, we approve the treasurer's monthly
I
treasure.
think you did that on purpose.
Second. He's afraid Sean was gonna get it.
Is that for just the
That is-
monthly report or is that personnel also?
Both.
All right, EMS bereavement personnel policy, what is the,
This is giving Jason's crew 2 shifts versus the 1.4 that they are currently. So we're just asking where they can have 2 full shifts for bereavement. Just to give them enough time. I mean, there's never enough time, but it kind of helps instead of, hey, you only have 1 shift and then I want to see you.
And bereavement is, they only give bereavement for immediate family.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's, you know,
so,
the death of an immediate family member, instead of half of, like 1 shift, they
Yeah.
get 2 shifts. Like
Right.
everybody else is what, 3?
3 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 days on
and a shift
regular.
is 24 hours?
I make a motion. We change the EMS bereavement to 2 shifts.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, approval of county auditor's April 2025 monthly financial report.
That also has the new format on it, from our new software. The first cover page is going to look the same. And then when you scroll down past the cover page in the letter, you'll see the actual, financials. It has every account and it has the original budget and then current budget, meaning that the original, it was approved last year, and then current, so if any line item transfers or budget amendments were done, that's where it's going to be reflected. Then your month-to-date activity, your year-to-date activity, and your budget remaining. And the good thing about this new software is that when you get into your detail reports, the percentage remaining is accurate.
Wow.
That is,
Wow, that is so clean.
Make the motion to approve the county auditor's April 2025 monthly financial
Real
report.
fast, one thing, sorry. The hyperlinks for those of y'all, I have all of the employees, all the department heads and elected officials, I have you all set up in there. I will be sending the Loom video so that y'all will all have, understand how to sign in on it. But if you have an assigned department in there and you see the financial, you can click on the blue hyperlink and it will take you, if it's one of your departments, it will take you to see what activity was in there.
that's good.
And for Commissioner's Court, y'all will have a separate sign-on for all accounts for budgeting purposes.
And that's where you'll have to sign on.
Yes, that's where the main page that you sign in. And when you would sign in, you would see your dashboard for your data.
But you can't edit yet.
Clear as mud.
We have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Certified revenues, jail and non-departmental.
Hold on, I gotta find the letters. Okay, the, jail is, it's his extra money that he received back from SHP Partnership for the 2024. So I'm certifying $14,410.87. There is a budget amendment asking to place that back into his contract labor line, which is where we pay SHP from. And then the other one is from the Chamber of Commerce for their portion of the Placer AI software, $8,400. There's also a budget amendment placing those funds back into 409-4500, which is where we originally paid the full amount from, and then receive reimbursements back.
Make a motion to certify the revenues as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Approval of line item transfers and budget amendments.
Okay, there are two budget amendments. The first one is the non-departmental, putting that $8,400 into maintenance repair miscellaneous that we just certified. The second one is putting the $14,1487 into the jail contract labor that we just certified. Actually, there's three budget amendments. I forgot there's this one. For ARPA fund, this is to clean up the lines. This is the EMS building, the administrative fees, $10,000, and into capital outlay, $650,000. So total of $660,000. It comes from the Fund 49 ARPA Texas class money that we will be putting into those lines to cover those expenses to date. That's all the budget amendments. Do you want to go and do line items?
Yes, ma'am.
There are three. There's Commissioner Precinct 3. The Commissioner Court line, other equipment, 1557 coming out of Road and Bridge. Road material and costs, 1557 for a new computer for Precinct 3 Commissioner Office. County Attorney, $15 into dues out of office supplies. It was due to an increase in the dues. And then Treasurer's Office, $2,000 into office supplies out of maintenance due to office move needing a new safe.
Motion for approval of line item transfers and budget amendments as presented.
All in favor? Accounts payable.
Accounts payable total
Sorry, telling him not to leave yet.
is $1,452,653.03. It will be slightly less. There were two invoices or payable checks that there was a slight issue on the processing. It pulled some from a previous packet that had already been paid. So once those are corrected, they're working on it right now through Tyler. It will actually be slightly less, but not a lot, but we need to approve it so we can pay it.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor? We will adjourn, don't leave.
I wanna know who signs up treasurer's line item transfer.
I do.
Just before you.
Talking about squiggles.
Oh, okay, yes, it is, I'm sorry. Who has time to write all that little?
Exactly.
Was it another stuff to sign?
Now you can.
Yes, there's a donation form. And I will need to jump on there and
Bring snacks.
I've got a question.
hang on.
Hang on, here in a minute.
They take that up and then for the rules.
That book is heavy.
First thing one to work. Somebody should talk. Like it's ready to go.
Understand.
No.